chapter 1 is included. Afrah. No, it's there. How you don't have? Actually, it's there. The slides you're talking about. The slides is not by you. ولكن الكتاب الشابتر is there. It's with you. Classroom and the Moodle, I believe.
أستاذ ما يفتح عندنا في الكلاس روم ولا في الموديل، ما في حاجة يعني. في الكلاس روم ما يفتح الملفات اللي أنت منزلينها، يكتب تعذر الحصول على الملف.
الحين فتح معي أفراح، الحين فتح معي تو، بس الحين فتحته، فتح 642 صفحة هذا الكتاب. I'll give you only the chapter itself. I'll re-upload you the chapter itself, and I'll send them to you also by email, just right after the class. Afrah, try to use another device for your safety, but even though I'll send you another copy here in the classroom in the Moodle also, in addition to the email, just after the class. So 9 موجودين out of 11, still 2 to go. Meanwhile, did you answer the question? I hope yes, you did. And regarding what we saw and where we stopped last class, actually, any questions, any uprisings from the last explanations or what we saw last class?
أستاذ لو سمحت عندي سؤال بس.
يب خليفة تل.
أستاذ متى بيكون إن شاء الله الكويز؟ عندك خلفية عن
Yeah, sure. Actually, it is planned to be for this Wednesday. Yet, because of the vacation last week, still, it is on Wednesday only. But if you feel that you can, let it be on Wednesday. Let it be on this Wednesday only. ونهايته chapter 1 only. ما راح ندخل فيها زيادة. So let it be on this Wednesday. Next class means. كان الأسبوع الماضي الأربعاء هو اللي الكلاس الناقص. It's okay.
طيب إنزين الحين الاختبار مال اللاب والثيوري غير عن بعض صح؟
لا غير عن بعض. No, they are not included.
غير
No.
عن بعض يعني.
Yes, exactly.
تمام. بس
اللاب
مستر بيكون عندنا ضغط كثير يعني احنا الأسبوع
اللاب
الماضي
still.
كلها انتجنا هالأسبوع.
True, exactly.
يعني يوم الأربعاء ضغط كثير يعني حتى يمكن يكون
ما في لاب ترى، ما في لاب اختبار الأسبوع هذا.
ما في اختبار؟
اللاب ما في اختبار الأسبوع هذا.
بس المس قالت لنا هذا الأسبوع راح يكون.
No, أنسى الموضوع. ما في اختبار لاب هذا الأسبوع. إلا
يعني
إذا في
الأسبوع الجاي.
اللاب أسبوع 8. اختبار اللاب أسبوع 8.
أسبوع 8. تمام.
أسبوع رقم 8. نعم.
أستاذ لو سمحت عادي
صفراء.
نأجل الكويز الأسبوع القادم، لأنه هذا الأسبوع ضغط. يعني الأسبوع الماضي إحنا ما اختبرنا ولا اختبار، وكله هذا الأسبوع يعني
الأسبوع
الاختبارات.
3 ما في اختبار. هي بطبعها على الأسبوع 3 ما في اختبارات. وفقا للخطة كل المواد اختباراتهم أسبوع 4. كل المواد اختباراتهم الاختبارات القصيرة الكويز الأول it is to be on this week. أسبوع 4 من البداية الخطة هي تقول الأسبوع 4 على الاختبارات. يعني
لأنه إحنا عندنا أستاذ كان اختبارات الأسبوع الماضي 3 اختبارات وأجلوهم كل هذا الأسبوع.
أسبوع 3 ما في اختبارات أصلا. فرح سوري.
أستاذي الأسبوع
خليفة.
الماضي مثل ما قالت
3.
هي صح كان في اختبارات وأجلون هذا الأسبوع، فضغط معنا كثير يعني ما يستوي إنك تخليه يوم الاثنين الجاي.
هو أن أجلها بسبب إنه الأربعاء الماضية نقصتنا كلاس، وليس بسبب الاختبارات. ترى الاختبارات أنها ضغط للأسف ترى إذا وضعت مع بعض، ولكن إذا أنتم متفقين أنه الكويز نأجلها من الأربعاء هذه إلى الحصة الأولى الاثنين القادم يعني it's okay.
أنا ما عندي مانع، بس ما أعرف عاد عن الباقي يعني.
إذا عندكم خلاص من أجله يوم الاثنين. اللي عنده اعتراض اللي عنده إشكالية خبرنا otherwise هو الاثنين القادم.
عادي أستاذ ما معنا مشكلة، موافقين يوم الاثنين إن
أوكي.
شاء الله.
جميل الكلام إذا بالاتفاق. good. regarding المحتوى regarding content any questions؟ نرجع للدرس.
لا يا أستاذ تفضل.
okay that's good. We were talking about the generations of the computers and the models. Three types we presented last class: the servers, the mainframe, and the supercomputers. That was the last thing we discussed. Let me just share with you my view. I believe you are able to see the presentation. So just a small briefing about those three models: the servers and the mainframes and the supercomputers. They are three categories via which we see calculators in action. Calculators, we mean here the computers. They are nominated to be calculators. Why? Because they are doing processes only, and those processes, they are simple math calculations based on binary inputs. Full stop. And each single digital device is considered to be a calculator. Why? Because his process and his functionality in background is based on making math calculations on to or upon the inputs, which is a group of binary inputs. Servers, it gives dedicated functions. Yes, web server, file server, to store files or to store profiles or to store data, something like that. At the end of the day, it is a computer. At the end of the day, it is a calculator, but with a dedicated functionality. A mainframe still it is simply it is a computer, but it gives the chance to many terminals to be connected to have a central data source or data resource. Mainframe, مركزي. Supercalculator, it is a very dedicated here. It's not dedicated. It's a very dedicated calculator. Why I'm stressing on the context of very dedicated, because it needs specific tasks to do. Specific, very specific. Mainly we see it in medicine field, or we see it in military field, or we see it in aerospace field or something like that, where we need an intensive calculations to be done and an intensive processes to be done. Thus, we talk about supercalculator or supercomputer due to the intensive computation capabilities required to be done or to be achieved within a very short time. Yeah, the supercomputer, yes, it can do an intensive calculation, and a normal computer also can do the intensive calculation, but the time is a constraint. A very short time per second. There is an enormous difference in between the supercomputer and the normal computer per second. Good. Some questions, I'll share them with you, but not now. Another context through the digital environment we can see is the remote access or the remote services based on the computer networks. I believe all of you know what is the internet. I believe all of you use the internet. I believe all of you have resources and activities to do on the internet. First definition, what is the internet? It's a computer network, computer-based network. And for the definition of what is a computer network, it's an interconnection of a group of terminals for the purpose of sharing resources. Resources that might be physical resources, or they might be logical resources. What does it mean? It means we can create a computer network. What does it mean? We can interconnect a group of computers to share, for example, one printer, to share, for example, one, let's say, file altogether. What is the printer? It's a physical device. What is a file? It's a logical, let's say, resource. Both of them, they are resources we shared. Means we can send from computer 1 to computer 2 to computer 3 to computer number n. How? Using a computer network. If the computer network is in action, means if the computers, they are able to be connected and they are connected all together, so we can share, we can finalize the sharing activity or activities in plural. Communication or sharing means the same thing. It values the same purpose at the end of the day. Examples of actually utilization of the computer networks onto the internet is to provide services. Remember that a computer network is for the purpose of delivering a service or giving a service or providing services to end users. A home network, it's a very famous, let's say, type of network. I believe all of you know the Untitled, let's say, modem or the Naurus modem or whatever. You can you are utilizing for getting internet access at home. All the home members, they are using the same device to access the internet. So what does it mean? This is a very good example of a home network. All the home at your home, everybody, they are using the same box given by Aumentel, for example, or by Naurus to access the internet. They are all connected to the same device to access the internet. Locally at home, you are connected to the same device. So this is a very good example of a home network. Actually, the same scenario applies if we are talking about a small environment, like a school, or let's say a list of offices, a building like our college here, something like that. It's the same context applies, but the function is different. The function is different. At home, we are connected to the same network to access the internet. Here at school or at colleges or something like offices, or work area, the purpose is different. We will have the same scenario how to be connected, but the purpose is different because we may have different functions to do, not only to access the internet. Based on this view, based on this understanding, we can classify the networks regardless, because those examples we see here, they are not unique. They are not unique. We have a long list of examples, and all is based on the functionality that the computer network provides to the end users. We'll stop. Final point is that computer networks, they are an interconnection of devices, and this interconnection can be done either wire-based or wirelessly based. In the sense of, we can get connected to a computer network using a wire, physical connectivity. The physical connectivity is a wire. Yes, there has to be a link, physical link, which is the wire itself. Wire-based, we say. Or we may have actually a mobile connectivity, or let's say wireless connectivity, which is another type of a computer network also still. Both of them, they are computer networks. Both of them, they are a network, types of or models of networks. A graph illustrating what we were explaining right now. Yes, the internet is the very famous network, and I believe that it does not need a definition from me to you to make you understand what is the internet. The interconnection of the networks worldwide is the internet. It's the biggest physical network available on Earth, the biggest in size, the biggest in number of services delivered worldwide. The internet is the interconnection of the networks, the group of networks. Internet. It is an interconnection of networks at the end of the day. And as per the definition we saw, a network, it is a service delivery, but it's a remote service delivery. So the internet, it's a group of services to deliver at the end of the day. But at the globe scale, we are not talking about a local scale. We are talking about a worldwide scale. Service delivery worldwidely, no more, no less. Yet we segregate the internet functionality based on two views. Simple connection and just being connected. Here we talk about the internet, which is the physical connectivity. Service delivery and service send and requesting and responses to requests. It is the logical side of the internet, which is the www, World Wide Web. Being connected to the internet, you require an access through an internet service provider, ISP. Then after, you may search for services, whatever. You use the Google, you use the Facebook, you use University of Nizwa, EduWave, or website, whatever. It is classified to be a www-based service. What is the www? It is the layer that works on top of the internet, the physical network, which is the worldwide network. Every and each single activity to go after on the www requires a client. The client here we talk about a web browser. Any example: Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, Firefox. All of them, they are actually models of web browsers. Web browsers, they are available in mobile devices and they are available in computer devices also. They are all equipped with predefined, let's say, or preset, pre-installed browsers. In addition to that, you may install extra ones. You need one only to access the internet. You cannot access the internet using nothing. No, you have to use a client, and the client is a web browser. View. You are familiar with that? Great. A small technical presentation of what is actually an internet or a network connectivity, or a computer interconnected to a local network or to the internet itself or whatever. Being identified is the first criteria to let you get connected. For example, you want to you buy a new device, new mobile or a new laptop, and you come home and you want to connect that new device to the internet using the same device you have already at home. The device, if he does recognize your new device, he will let you in. He will give you access to the internet. If he cannot recognize the device, he will never let you get in. He will never let you get connected. What does it mean if the device recognizes the new device you bring? Means he identifies the new device. To identify this new device, there is a technical address or technical name. We give it to the device automatically to be assigned, and the device has to fulfill the requirement. He can receive that name or address and save it with him. Here we talk about internet protocol, the IP address. Talk about the internet protocol address. Every and each single device connected to a network has to be identified using an IP address. It is a sort of a name, it is a sort of an address, it is a sort of an identifier. This is an example. It is 4 numbers. Let's say address, it is seen like that: 4 numbers. Number 1, usually from left to right. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Therefore, numbers interconnected. They are just, we cannot see spaces in between. We cannot see spaces in between. We cannot see something like this, for example. No, never. It cannot be an IP address. No, never. It has to be only with this shape. We have 4 numbers interconnected with 3 dots. It is an internet protocol. What is it? It is the address of the device inside the network, inside a given network. There are actually rules how to give those numbers, and there are rules how to assign those numbers, because we may fall into giving the same number to 2 computers, which is an error. So there are rules for applying this identification, let's say, way or manner or tool. Just have to know that there is an identifier that has to be given to every device, and the device has to admit that and has to accept that to be having the chance to get connected to the network and reach the resources through that network, a computer network. Exactly what I was describing right now. The IP address is just a sort of 4 numbers interconnected altogether. 4 numbers, yes. There are, regardless of the technical descriptions of what are they for now. And another new context or a new description or new given here is the domain names. This is a terminology. We see it inside the network only. We may talk about, the list of domains here I'm giving you. Here, this graph is giving us a very famous list of domains. What are the domains? They are the extensions that a resource have on the internet mainly, but generally we talk about computer networks. So a domain is an extension that a resource have on a network, on a given network. Mainly we talk this way, we talk about the internet, but it's not related to the internet only. It is a computer network access methodology. The domains, they are extensions given to resources, and those resources, they are identified with those domains. Sorry, whatever. We have actually segregation of domains based on the service intended to be given. Other than that, we can utilize any domain for any service. But for clarity and for perfect use, we segregate the domains based on the service we get to give. Give an example. The com, if you see the first one here, the com, the .com domain, it is for commercial applications, for commercial tasks on the internet or on any network. Edu.edu, any domain that ends with edu, it is an educational purpose service delivery. It might be utilized for something different, but mainly we indicate the educational sector with the .edu. Does not mean that if we want to sell something, for example, commercial, on the edu we cannot. No, we can. We can sell courses. We can sell training courses and so on. We can, but we are indicating that the group is edu and so on. Those domains, actually, those domains, they are not restricted to the only extension we see here, or the list of extensions we see here. There are other extensions, first of all. Yes, absolutely. In addition to that, we see actually the name of the domain or the top level domains that are actually the identify of the serves, exactly those extensions, and that's it, full stop, without making the thing long. The TLDS, which are the top level domains, that the ones that they come after the dot, the end, those extensions, they are TLDS, top level domains. They specify the service type, the service, let's say, model, and so on. Top level domains, they are the extensions. The domain, the full domain, which is the name of the service given by a provider, company, whatever, and which one to use, it depends on the service. They are not. You do not need to know what are they all here. No, but you have to know that there are groups, and those groups, they are based on the service, no more, no less. Those are examples only. It means we cannot limit all of the domains available worldwide. No, but we can know the majority and mainly the very famous, as the com, edu, gov, and actually they are all net. Sorry, and they are all very famous, and we can, because we utilize them frequently, so it's easy to memorize them. Just one extra given here is that from those TLDSs, the top level domains, we may recognize a service provider location, not only what is the type and the model of the service or the business, but also the location where it is. If it is in Oman, or it is in Tunis, or it is in the United States, or wherever it is, the TLDS can give us, because if it is .om at the end, means it is in Oman. If it is in .us, it is in the United States, and so on. So the TLDS can indicate the location also of the service provider, location of the service provider. Good. Domains, they are actually referred to as technically as the URLs, because we see the TLDS, or the name of the domain, within the URL. What is the URL? Is the www, which is the address we use to access a resource through the web client, which is the web browser. Uniform Resource Locator. If you want to access any resource on the internet, you have to use such component, which is the URL, to access the resource. Without the URL, you'll not be able to access the resource. What is the URL? It is the address of the resource itself on the www environment. Means the www environment, which is the logical internet. How many services are available there? Numerous, we cannot count. Numerous, and daily there are new services accessing and being provided through the www environment. Hey, which one we need, and if we need a specific service, how we will access it? It's using the URL. regardless. Good. Segregation of the URL and the paths inside the URL. The HTTP at the beginning. This is an example here. If you can see my mouse, if you can see my pointer, it is the URL of the Twitter. It is an index page inside the jobs, let's say, folder. The first part, what comes at the beginning from the left, is the protocol. How we are going to visualize the way, how we are going to visualize it. This part here specifies that. She said, which is the name. We give it the name protocol. The domain itself, the service provider, the service owner. Here in this example, here it is the host, also given the name host. It is the Twitter. This example is the Twitter. The service or the function or the sub function, which is actually the location of the service required at the end, which is a folder. It's a folder. It comes in between two forward slashes. Let me try to maximize the view. I'm not able, regardless. Here, after .com, there is a slash. After jobs, there is another slash. This is a folder. This is a folder. Jobs is a folder. The last one, it has an extension, .html. It has an extension. So this is a file. This is a file. This is a service to deliver. This is what we want. It's the index page. It's the home page. So we are accessing the home page of the jobs inside the Twitter using the HTTP protocol. I repeat, we are accessing the home page, which is the index. It's an HTML page inside the jobs folder through the Twitter or provided by the Twitter using the HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol. There are other protocols. Here we are going to visualize only, but we can utilize the FTP, file transfer protocol, FTP protocol, which is actually another type of a protocol that specifies to deliver files, to download or upload files, So it's different. We may utilize the HTTP only without the S. Still, we will visualize, but it's not secure. The page is not guaranteeing the security of the users. If you send passwords or let's say usernames, they might be. It will not be hacked, but they might be exposed, and they can be seen by strangers. But when we use the HTTPS, they are highly, let's say in a way, more higher secure. They are not guaranteed 100% secure, but somehow they are more secure. Let's say they are secure, and they are secure at a level. Good. The context of the emails is another scenario via which we see services on the internet. The emails or the electronic mails. This is an example of an interface via which we see actually an inbox, which is an interface through which a receiver is receiving his, let's say, emails and so on. Whatever, we have actually an identifier. It's a username. Then after we have domain. Then after we have the TLDS, which is the extension at the end of the day. So we see an example right now of an email. Because here actually they are small. They are here, but they are small to see here. Yes, I'm going to maximize it here. Good. This is an example. This is an example of an email, president@whitehouse.gov. President is the username. At is the link to the domain. The domain is the whitehouse.gov. TLDS is .gov. I repeat, president is the username. At is the link to the domain, is the arrobas, the at, link to domain. Domain, what is it? Whitehouse.gov. .gov is the TLDS, top level domain. What comes after the dot? Whatever. Actually, there are so many domains and there are so many kinds of emails, yet the structure is the same. The structure is the same. We cannot find a different structure for the email. Usually we will find the username linked with an arrobas to a domain. Domain is name.tLDS. Whatever the name is and whatever the TLDS is. TLDS, remember, top level domain. Any questions so far, please? Great, great, great. This is a dedicated example of a computer-based network, but this is a service to deliver. Here we talk about a dedicated alert or alarm service, something like that. This is an example of an application, mobile application that gives a moment, let's say, an immediate alert to end users. The final point is that it can send different types of media, When we define the media, we talk about the data to or the information to transmit, data or information, both. Either they are text or video or audio, all of them, graphical or audio, they are all of them types of media, and all of them they are to be possibly carried using such notification or alerting application. The terminology served in the web, pushes us to understand that there are actors to do so. To serve the web means to reach a server or to ask for a server over the www environment. We will need a client, which is the web browser. Actually, the web browser has to refer to the usage of a URL. We said earlier, we defined earlier, uniform resource locator, which is actually the resource to search for. At the end of the day. The web browser has to help you utilize the resources inside the URL easily. Mainly we talk about the links and the moving from a page to another, from a resource to another, and so on. This is surfing the web. This is a scenario that describes surfing the web. To utilize the resources or to refer to resources over the web. What is the web? It is the services delivered on top of the internet. www environment. Example, the Google is a good example of a service we ask through the web, and searching things or searching resources using the Google or using the service of Google is another example of surfing the web. Whatever. Another definition of related, or actually another terminology we see through the email definition, which is the context of either we are going to use a native email or conventional email provider, means we are going to refer to a dedicated application for email delivery only. It does only deliver emails. It does only work with emails. Its main service is to deliver emails. Or we are going to go through the web platforms to reach the same service, which is the email. Examples of conventional, or let's say predefined or preset applications that they deliver, they are only to be used for delivering emails, sending and receiving emails. The Outlook or the Xmail from macOS, they are applications you install, and then after installing, you use them to send and receive emails. Or you may refer to the www. For example, gmail.com or www.outlook.com. They are web-based. They are resources on the www environment. They deliver emails also. They give the same results at the end, but this is installed on your computer, conventional, and this is available on the www. You don't install anything. Other than that, they are delivering electronic mails. Actually, communications, they are not standing only behind the usage of emails, because emails, they are sort of communication platform, or let's say communication solutions. We may send so many, whatever the media is, we may communicate it using the emails. Other sorts of communication platforms, we know the SMS, the simple let's say text messages we may utilize, or we may send and receive through the mobile devices, or the multimedia based, let's say same thing, SMS. They are actually a very good example of mobile communications, let's say solutions, or let's say platforms, because we are utilizing a network also, but it is a telephony network. So all of them, they define a way how to communicate data. Send an email, what does it mean? You are going to send data, share data. Send an SMS, what does it mean? You are sharing knowledge. Same thing, MMS, you are sharing knowledge. From the sender to the receiver, a way how to go actually an email. We have on top a sender's computer, and at the end of the day, actually one receiver's computer. There have to be a path through which an email has to be sent and submit from sender to destination. It does not have to fail. When we send, we are going to send from A to B, means B has to receive, not another computer. The path has to be recognized clearly by the email. There have to be no errors. How? Actually, the sender and the receiver, they are met, okay, the devices, to follow certain path. There is technical scenario behind to draw the path before sending, and then after the email has to follow only. Um, Remember that we cannot utilize a computer for itself, but we can use a computer for a service. The same way, we cannot use we cannot interconnect a computer group of computers just to create a computer network. No, but to use resources, whether they are physical or whether they are physical or logical. Thus, we see benefits behind the usage of a computer, or behind the usage of a computer network. There are benefits. And here we see the impact of computers on the society, or onto the society. So what the society, the group of people, the community, what they are having as benefit when deploying or using computers in their daily lives. Actually, they 100% they would be more productive. This is for sure. Actually, they would be very productive when compared to a paper-based work. What a human being can do in a matter of 1 hour, a computer can do it in just a matter of click. It's enormously more productive. Actually, the computers for the society also, the computers can be utilized for very, let's say, sensitive, or let's say very dedicated and specific, yes, fields of action, like the medical, let's say, purposes, or medical. Here he's saying the diagnosis, but all the medical fields, they are sensitive. So computers, they are given a positive impact when it is utilized or adopted in such field. Yes, in addition to actually computers, they are given the chance, and we can see that through the pandemic we are living nowadays, the corona and the COVID-19. It gives the chance to finalize jobs online. It gives the chance to finalize jobs and activities and tasks using digital devices. Absolutely true. Actually, communication solutions can be handled and delivered using the computers only. We can share resources. Mainly, we talk about data and information. We talk about data and information. We can share them using the computers only. So those are, all of them, they are positively seen, and positive impacts of computers adoption within a society, within a given society. Um, there are side effects. They are not only actually presenting positive effects only, the adoption of computers. There are side effects. Here we see some of them. They are not limited, but very famous. Actually, the 100% adoption of computers in the daily life can cause stress and health concerns. Means, actually, if you are utilizing the mobile device, in your mobile only, we don't talk about other devices, 24 hours a day, these harmful for your health only. So this is actually, and this is proven scientifically. Other concern is the security perspective. You may be a victim of a hack due some sorts of unwanted communication platforms, which is actually the email usage, and you may be trapped by, let's say, a hacker using a fake email, which is a spam. Unwanted and undesirable email is a spam. You may be a question of a hack So we have to take care of that also. Malware in general, viruses and let's say bad programs in your computer can steal your information, can share your resources, can expose your exams, can send your photos, whatever. They are also bad programs, viruses and malware. Phishing, it is another sort of activity to be done through the spam, the phishing, which is to trap you to steal your credentials, to trap you to steal your credentials. Actually, through the computer networks, we can try, and it is more successful when we compare to a physical phishing. So the phishing is to trick you to steal your username and password, for example. It can be done through the network only, through the computer network only. It is another side effect. Actually, using a computer, if you use a computer, I can track you. Track you, what does it mean? It means I can trespass the privacy that you want to have. You may think that you are using a computer, your private computer, but using a computer network, I can hack you. I can see what I call credentials or your private data or something like that. So privacy is in question. Does not mean that 100% will trespass the privacy. No, 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 no. But it is in question. It can be, say, it can be exposed. Actually, because of the nowadays, because of the new nowadays communication platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, WhatsApp, there are new terminologies that they have been imposed to us, and they are commonly utilized inside the society. And some of them they are required to be recognized by us. Some of them we may neglect. Um, they are not from the native English. They are not from the native whatever the language is, but they are because of the technology only. They are because of the technology only. They have been imposed to us. Give the example here. Actually, the netiquette. The netiquette is the context of being, let's say, formal enough and being, let's say, polite enough whenever we are talking about any let's say, whenever you're communicating through the computer network. Does not mean that you are behind a computer you have to be less formal. No, the etiquette, it is from etiquette only, but it is related to the network. So net etiquette, netiquette. It is a context of being polite enough, but behind the network. This etiquette, it has been defined, this word, because of the technology only. Without the computer networks and without the internet, we would not have this word available or existent, and so on. Actually, we come to an end by the terminologies here. We come to an end by the terminology. If you have any questions, otherwise I'll stop at this level. I'll upload you the video today. It's included in your quiz. Just refer to it later on. And see you next class, inshallah. Do you have any questions before I stop anything? Do you have any requests or any questions, please?